Every alliance down in Stormwind liked Winter Vale a lot, but the Greench who lived just north of Stormwind did not. The Grinch hated Winter Vale, the whole Winter Vale season. Now please, don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be that his stats are not quite right. It could be, perhaps, that his transmog was just too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his item level was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his ring or his moans, he stood there on Wintervale Eve, hating the gnomes, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every alliance down in Stormwind beneath was now busy hanging their mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings,
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow Winter Vale is practically here.
Then he growled with his grinchy fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Winter Vale from coming.
For tomorrow, he knew, all the human girls and boys would wake bright and early and they'd rush to their toys. And then, oh, the noise! The noise! The noise! That's the one thing he hated. The noise! Noise! Then the Alliance, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'll feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They'd get drunk on Great Father Winter's ale and rare savage feast, which is something the Greench couldn't stand in the least. And then they'll do something he least liked of all. Every dwarf down in Stormwind, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Wintervale bells ringing, and they'd stand hand in hand, and the Alliance would start singing. They'd sing, oh, they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Greench thought about this Elia Wintervale sing, the more the Greench thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 11 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Winter Vale for coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Greench got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Greench laughed in his throat. He posted in trade requesting his green winter hat and coat, and he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy hinter! Why, with this green hat and coat, I look just like Great Father Winter. All I need is a medicine.
The Greench looked around, but since medicine is scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Greench? No. The Greench simply said,
if I can't find a medicine, I'll make one instead.
So he summoned his pet pug, and he took some red thread and tied a big hat on the top of his head. Then he loaded some hexweave bags he bought from a thug on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up his little pug. Then the Greench said, "Giddy up," and the sleigh started down, towards the homes where the humans lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air, all the Alliance were all sleeping without one single care. When he came to his first little house on top of the square,
this is the #1 stop,
the old great Grinchy Winter hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Great Father Winter could do it, then so could the Greench. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Alliance stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings, he grinned, are the first thing to go.
Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room he took every present. Train sets and tiny blue ragdolls, burning blades and chalices of the mountain kings, ancient ambers, gocklock shells, punchable marots and tiny cloud rings. And then he stuffed them in hexweave bags. Then the Greench, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the guild bag. He took the night elf's savage feast. He took the potions, the flasks, he took the enchants, to say the least. He cleaned out that guild bag as quick as a flash. Why, that Greench even took the last of the dump trashed. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
grinned the Greench,
I shall stuff up the tree.
And the Greench grabbed the tree and started to shove, when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and saw a small gnome, little Cindy Lou Gnome, who just came for a roam. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny gnome, who'd just got out of bed for a quick little roam. She stared at the Grinch and said,
Great Father Winter, why are you taking our Wintervale tree? Why?
But, you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little gnome,
The fake Great Father Winter lied.
there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my garrison, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the gnome, then he patted her head, and got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Gnome went back to her bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log on their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of spiced bread he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Alliance houses, leaving crumbs much too small for other Alliance mouses. It was 1/4 reset, all the drainy eyes still abed, all the Worgans still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their toys, their gems, their recipes, the flasks and the potions, the runes, the legacies. 3,000 feet up the side of ruins of Alderac, he rode with his load to the tip-top to push it off track.
Ho-ho to the Alliance,
He was grinchishly humming.
they're finding out now that no Wintervale is coming. They're just waking up now, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a moment or two, then the Alliance down in Stonewind will cry boo-hoo. That's a noise,
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hands to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound was merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Stormwind. The Grinch popped his ears, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Alliance down in Stormwind, the tall and the small, was singing without any toys at all. He hadn't stopped Wintervale from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without toys. It came without rags. It came without recipes, potions, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Wintervale, he thought, doesn't come from the auction house. Maybe Wintervale, perhaps, means something a little more.
And what happened then? Well, in Stormwind they say that the Grinch's small item level grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his transmog didn't feel so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the ingredients for the feast, and he, himself, the Grinch, put down the savage feast.